Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Masculine men live by a code. Masculine men live by a code. And you know, I've talked about codes before. And every man has to have a code he lives by. Whether he gets that code from his religion, his culture, his social class, his family, or the best part yet, creating his own code. He has to live by a code. There's certain things he has to say, he has to do, and he has to stick with it, no matter what. And he's the one that sticks with it. If he's living by a code that someone else has to enforce, he's not masculine. He's living by it because it's what he wants to do. He's choosing it, however you do it. Like a lot of men, you know, who do live by a code, they might choose it from different elements and everything, but it's what they chose. See, that's the thing, and they have to stick with it. And your code, basically, in a nutshell, your code is what you would do when nobody is looking. You don't have that code that you're going to enforce when you're in front of everybody, you got witnesses and everything, but then behind closed doors, you're doing something different. That's how you know it's a code. You're going to do that no matter what. You're going to enforce it no matter what. And it's going to be self-enforced. Nobody has to tell you to do it. You're going to do it because you're the one who has to live with yourself. That's your boundary. And I want y'all to think about that. Like, think about it. What codes do you have? And if you at a certain age, you don't have a code, you need to really work on that. You need to work on that. That's what it means to be a man. This is how you're going to behave. This is how you're going to treat people and everything, right? Because that's how you have to be. Like one of my codes is I don't deal with a woman if she's drunk. If she's drunk, that's one of my codes is I don't deal with her. And I ain't talking drinking just a little bit of alcohol. I mean, if she's drunk, I was like, no. And the reason why I have that code, if I do anything with a woman, I don't want her to say I forced her or anything like that. Nah, she need to be totally sober or very sober at the very least. At the very least, very sober, but that's my code. Somebody else might have another code, you know, but that's something I enforce. And I've told women that. They have a lot of alcohol in them. Say, shit, I can't mess with you now. Shoot. And one thing with the code, like I said, you don't want something that someone else has to enforce. Someone else has to remind you of. Because that's not a code, then you following something else. Your code, you just have to have that code that you create, that you enforce, that is in line with your value system. Let me talk about that because that's something every man has to have, a system of values. He has to have things that he values beyond anything else. You know, and that code needs to reflect that. You know, in fact, people need to see that. People need to, that's how powerful your code needs to be. You don't need to tell them. They should be, most people can look at you and say, okay, he got a certain code he goes by. He got certain things he do, you know, in a certain way he behaves, no matter what. And you know what, here's the interesting thing. You're going to get some people who might even want to try to test you. They want to test you and stuff. That's how your code has to be. But it has to be so much a part of you, even when they testing you, that code is coming out. And you're not even thinking about it consciously. That's how powerful the code has to be. And you, like I said, it's best if you create it, but however you get it, you know, and you can pull from different things. Or like, let me use the religion part. I don't talk about religion a lot, but if you saying you following a certain religion, but then people catch you doing something else, boom. Like, I'll use the example of Muslims. Now, I've known some Muslims that would eat some pork. And then we'll say, hold up. What you doing eating pork? Or what you doing coming out that liquor store? How you that they not following their code? Because you know what their code would be. They shouldn't be eating pork and they shouldn't be coming out of a liquor store. Are they really living by their code? You know? And it's like I said, you shouldn't have to even you have to have a code to the point that you're willing to fight for it. Let me say that again. You have to have a code that you're willing to fight for it. You know, certain things you ain't gonna do. You know, I've had people hit me up and say, well, would you do this if I give you some money? And I'm like, no, that's against my code. That's against my code. If I say I don't want to do something, no matter how much money you give me, you know. When we had this political thing a few months ago, somebody said, well, if somebody gave you $20,000 to promote this candidate, would you do it? And I was like, no. 20,000? I mean, you know, they could give me $1 million. I wouldn't. If I didn't believe, well, first of all, I wouldn't, no matter what. And I'm not going to violate who I am, no matter even for some money. Because let me use that for an example, because sometimes people will wave money in front of you as a test. No, because if you give up your code for money, that's not a code really. And see, a masculine man, he's going to stick with his code no matter what, even if he has to sacrifice something. Now, can I always use money? Oh yeah, please. But there's certain things I'm not going to do, even if you waving money in my face. And that's what a code is. That's how you have to be. Even if somebody's waving money in your face, or even a woman, she waving a booty in your face. She got a big fat booty just waving in the air. And you still say, nah, I'm still not going to violate my code even for that. That's how strong your code has to be. You're not gonna violate it. Somebody doesn't have to like force you, you know, or somebody can't trick you. You're not gonna say it because that's not a code. If you violate your code for money, for sex, for any reason, that's not a code. Because then you're not being a man then. Because what it means to be a man is to stick with who you are and what you do and whatever. And you can change your code as long as you change it. As long as you decide this is what you want to do. But it should be a slow change. I mean, it should be an evolution. And actually what it should be is you adding to your code. But you still got to have it. And if you're still being masculine, you still have to have a code by how you move through life. Because that code is also your boundary, which you ain't going to do. And like I said, you're going to be tested. You're going to be always tested. Money, sex, whatever. But then you're like, nah, not even for that. I ain't changing what I'm doing. I ain't going to do this for that. I ain't going to do this. No matter how much money you give me, no matter how much a woman, you know, wave the booty all up in the air. Nah. That's how it's be. That's how you got to be. And I want y'all to think about that, all right? Think about your code. What code do you have? If you don't have a code, develop one. Develop one, all right? So anyway, that's all I have for right now. And I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.